When I ordered Meghan Markle's products, okay, earnestly, in good faith, you guys know I sat down to try them. I tried the spreads. I thought the strawberry spread was fine. I had some friends come over and try the raspberry spread. They thought that was actually okay too. But the fact that the candle did not have a wick is unacceptable.
There's a big issue with these fancy candles, and it's impossible to ignore. They don't have a wick, not a single one. This isn't some kind of prank or a one-time factory blunder. It's happening again and again. Buyers all over the country are unboxing these pricey candles only to find out they can't even light them. When they try reaching out for a refund, customer service completely ghosts them. No reply, no refund, nothing. People are furious, and now this mess has exploded into the latest scandal tied to Meghan Markle's lifestyle brand. But this time, it's not just about bad press. There might actually be legal trouble brewing. The deeper this story goes, the weirder it gets. It all started when a few customers posted online saying their candles showed up without a wick.
It's the wick. He seems to be wickless at this point, Prince Harry. He's pretty whipped for his wife, Meghan Markle, and emasculated living at the McMansion in Montecito. But $64 for a candle is unacceptable if it does not come with a wick. Now, like you guys, why is there a hole? Okay, I've spoken to several candle makers the last few days who've reached out to me. Either they poured too much wax and there's a wick down in there.
At first, everyone brushed it off like it was just a random mistake.
Or it was broken off, or it broke off somehow. None of this is adding up to me. So I actually tried to get a refund, but when you go to Meghan Markle's website for her brand As Ever, it says they don't do refunds for the type of products that they sell.
But when more and more people started saying the same thing, the story lit up fast. And not in the way Meghan's team was hoping. At first, people laughed it off, thinking it had to be a joke. Others figured it was just a random glitch or someone exaggerating for clicks. But then the posts kept coming. More photos, more complaints, more proof.
That there's no light in the candle. And I know you've got one which came with no light. Now, people will feel I'm never going to buy anything from her again because this is very important.
It didn't take long before everyone realized this wasn't some one-time mix-up. It was happening to tons of paying customers. This isn't about one bad candle slipping through quality control. This looks like a full-blown pattern of faulty products being shipped out again and again. And that's where things start getting really awkward for the brand. But here's the part that's got everyone talking. Flip the candle over and you'll see it printed right there on the bottom. Always trim wick to 1/4 inch. That tiny line says it all. It proves these candles were designed to have wicks, real functional ones. So this isn't some fancy wickless design meant for display or scent warmers. Nope, something here definitely doesn't add up. These are supposed to be normal candles, the kind you light with a match or lighter, except there's one huge problem.
You do feel that you're not getting a bargain. You don't really feel that someone cares about you. What you feel, I imagine, is that this person is really greedy and not unkind and unkind and has to do everything what she wants. So she has to win.
There's nothing to light. Some buyers said their candles came with a perfect little hole down the center, like a wick was meant to be there, but someone forgot to add it. Just an empty tunnel disappearing into the wax. Others didn't even get that. Their candles were completely solid, no hole, no wick, just one big chunk of wax sitting pretty in a fancy jar. And let's be real, these aren't cheap candles you find on a clearance rack. These are sold as luxury items, the kind of thing that's supposed to scream sophistication and good taste. You're meant to display them proudly on your shelf, not stare at them wondering why they don't work. That's what makes this whole situation sting even more. Now here's where the frustration really hits. Each one of these candles sells for $64. $64 for a candle that doesn't even light. Sure, there's a market for high-end home fragrance. No one's denying that. But when someone drops that kind of money, they expect perfection. They expect top-tier craftsmanship, clean design, and every little detail done right. What they don't expect is to pay $64 for a decorative block of wax that can't do the one thing it's supposed to. Burn.
I want to know if you think anything's weird about this. It's a candle, right? What do you do with a candle? You're supposed to light it. How? How can I light a candle that lacks a wick? There is no wick in this candle.
For that same price, you could grab a whole bag full of Bath and Body Works candles that actually work and still have cash left over. You could walk into Home Goods or TJ Maxx right now and scoop up a bunch of solid, great-smelling candles that actually work. Even a classic Yankee candle can fill your whole house with fragrance, and you'd still have money left over. That's what makes this whole thing so frustrating. Shoppers trusted Meghan Markle's brand. They believed the hype, the luxury image, the promise of something special. But what they ended up with has a lot of people asking the same thing. What did we even pay for? Because when you strip away the fancy packaging, what buyers really got was nothing more than a pricey paperweight, a $64 decoration that doesn't even light. And just when you think it can't get any more ridiculous, it does. The scent of the candle is marketed as California Poppy, mixed with a few other notes meant to sound earthy and elegant. But here's the twist. Nobody seemed to do their homework.
So you are not going to believe what happened when I opened the box, when I got back.
It was a present.
There's
wasn't
no
it?
wick again. Again. No way to light this thing. Seriously, look.
The California Poppy, the state flower itself, barely has a scent at all. People living right in California surrounded by these flowers are saying it straight. The poppy doesn't really smell like anything. So the so-called signature scent of this luxury candle is based on a flower that's basically odorless. So even if these candles did have wicks, you'd still be paying $64 for a lump of wax scented after a flower that barely smells like anything. That alone makes people raise an eyebrow. But it doesn't stop there. This whole situation goes from ridiculous to possibly illegal. When buyers realized their luxury candles were basically defective decor pieces, they did exactly what any reasonable customer would do. They reached out for help. They messaged customer service, filled out refund forms, and submitted replacement requests through the official website. They followed every step the brand outlined. And what did they get in return? Absolutely nothing. According to multiple reports, the brand's customer service is practically non-existent. Some people say they got generic automated responses that led nowhere, while others say they were straight up ignored. Refund requests were brushed off or just left unanswered entirely. And get this, the brand's own site allegedly runs under a no refund policy. So if you drop $64 on a so-called luxury candle and it shows up missing the only thing that makes it a candle, you're out of luck. No wick, no burn, no refund, just silence. So basically, the brand's message to buyers was, that's your problem. No refund, no replacement, no sympathy, just tough luck. When you really think about it, that's wild. Any legit company facing a clear manufacturing issue that affects multiple customers would move fast. They'd offer refunds, send replacements, and at the very least issue an apology. That's basic business sense. That's how real brands protect their image and keep people's trust. But instead, customers are being left with useless, wickless wax tubes and no real solution in sight. One frustrated buyer even documented their entire struggle to get help. They followed every step, went through the official website, selected the item arrived damaged option, and explained exactly what happened. The only thing they got back was a bland form asking for their order number. After that, radio silence. Nothing helpful at all. When you're selling so-called luxury products at luxury prices, great customer service isn't a bonus. It's a must. Ignoring real complaints doesn't just annoy customers, it seriously hurts the brand's reputation. And what's worse, mistakes like this have a funny way of circling back when you least expect it. Now here's a detail that really adds another twist. A story recently surfaced about a Netflix employee who was leaving the company, and as part of their exit, something surprising happened connected to these very same products. So here's where things get downright unbelievable. That Netflix employee leaving the company was handed what they called a trash bag full of random leftover merch. Just a pile of unwanted promo stuff the company wanted to clear out. Inside that bag, a mix of random swag, leftover products, and, yep, one of the Meghan Markle branded candles. Let that sink in. Netflix, a major partner once tied to Meghan's brand, was literally giving these products away as employee junk. Not as luxury gifts, not as collectible keepsakes, but as throwaway items just to clean out storage. That alone speaks louder than any marketing campaign could ever hope to. But it gets worse. Way worse. The candle that came in that Netflix swag bag? It was wickless too. That means Netflix had these products sitting around, probably realized they were useless, and decided to toss them into exit bags for employees heading out the door. No polish, no presentation, no value, just something to get rid of. And this all went down after Netflix officially cut ties with Meghan's project, Love Meghan, following shockingly low performance numbers. Reports say the show ranked somewhere past 1,200 on Netflix's charts, completely buried, even losing out to decade-old reruns of Doubt. That's the kind of ending no luxury brand wants tied to its name. It gets even more embarrassing. Meghan's Netflix project was outperformed by random kids' cartoons that barely had any marketing at all. Netflix clearly wanted to back away from this whole thing, and fast. When a huge streaming partner starts quietly dumping your branded items as leftover junk, that says everything. They weren't treating these products like luxury goods or premium collectibles. They were just trying to clear space and move on. But here's where things stop making sense. Meghan Markle has always described herself as someone obsessed with details. She said it in multiple interviews, that she's involved in every part of her brand, that she personally checks what goes out under her name. Her exact words, she said she's got a freaky eye for detail. A freaky eye for detail. So how on earth are these high-end candles leaving the warehouse without wicks? Not just once, not twice, but again and again across different orders to different customers all over the country. That's not a minor slip-up, that's a repeated manufacturing mess. It really makes people question what's going on behind the scenes. Either she's not actually involved in quality control, which makes all those hands-on entrepreneur claims sound completely fake, or she is involved and somehow missed that her own luxury candles can't even be lit. Either way, it's hard to take that eye for detail reputation seriously when the candles themselves don't even have the most basic detail of all, a wick. There's really no version of this story that makes Meghan come out looking capable. None. We're not talking about some complex invention here. It's a candle. Candles have been made for thousands of years, and the formula couldn't be simpler. You need wax, a scent, a container, and a wick. That's it. 4 basic things. And yet somehow, again and again, one of those 4 essentials, the wick, keeps going missing from these so-called luxury products. That's not a tiny mix-up. That's a full-on failure somewhere in production. It points to either a major breakdown in manufacturing that nobody cared to check before shipping, or something even worse. Because if this problem kept happening and the candles still went out to customers, it starts to look like someone knew there was an issue and sent them anyway, hoping people wouldn't notice or wouldn't bother to complain. That's where this story starts crossing into dangerous territory. So what happens next? What kind of fallout does a company face when it sells defective products at premium prices and then refuses to issue refunds or replacements? There are a few possible outcomes. And honestly, none of them look good for Meghan's brand. First up, there's the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC. They're the ones who step in when companies cross the line with shady or misleading business practices. Selling a product that's marketed as a candle but doesn't actually function like one. Yeah, that could fall right under their radar. And if enough customers file complaints, a full-blown investigation isn't just possible, it's likely. Next, there's the risk of a class action lawsuit. When a bunch of people get burned, no pun intended, by the same defective product from the same brand, they can join forces and take the company to court together. And this mess fits that exact pattern perfectly. Multiple buyers, same issue, same silence from customer service. It's practically a textbook setup for a class action case. Then we've got the Better Business Bureau. Sure, the BBB doesn't have legal power, but their influence hits where it hurts. Reputation. A flood of complaints could tank the brand's rating and leave a permanent black mark that follows it everywhere. Once that record goes public, there's no hiding it. And that's where the bigger picture really comes into view. This isn't just about one faulty candle or a few disappointed buyers. It's about how a brand reacts when things go south, or in this case, how it doesn't react at all. When people drop serious cash on premium products, they expect premium accountability. That means when something goes wrong, the brand owns up, fixes the issue, and treats buyers with respect. But what's happening here looks like the total opposite. Instead of real answers, customers are getting silence. Instead of help, they're getting auto replies. And instead of understanding, they're met with rigid policies that make zero sense. It's no wonder people are starting to talk, and not in a good way. The conversation online has moved way past the missing wicks now. It's all about trust. Once customers start doubting whether a brand actually stands behind what it sells, that's when the real damage kicks in. Word spreads fast. especially when buyers feel ignored, brushed off, or treated like their complaints don't matter. Luxury branding isn't just about the product, it's about the experience. From the second someone adds it to their cart to the moment it arrives at their door, every detail counts. And right now, that entire experience looks broken at every step. Defective candles showing up, no responses from support, and a whole lot of frustration piling up online. What makes it even riskier? The price tag. When you're charging luxury prices, every flaw hits harder, and people remember it. When you're charging high-end prices, your margin for mistakes basically disappears. People paying luxury rates don't want excuses, they expect perfection. At a cheaper price point, a small flaw might slide. But when customers are paying top dollar and get carelessness instead of craftsmanship, it hits way harder, and that frustration builds fast. This whole mess also raises some serious questions about what's going on behind the scenes. Who's actually overseeing production? Who's checking quality before shipments go out? And who's running customer support, if anyone? These aren't minor details. They're the foundation of any business that sells to the public. If those systems aren't tight, no amount of fancy branding or celebrity backing can hide the cracks for long. And let's be real, this isn't just any brand. It's tied directly to one of the most talked about public figures in the world. That means every slip-up gets magnified, every customer complaint gets extra attention, and every rumor spreads twice as fast. When your name alone is what sells the product, your reputation is the product. And once that reputation starts to crumble, sales usually follow. We've seen this movie before. Brands that launch with massive hype, big promises, and glossy marketing, but skip the boring groundwork that actually keeps a business stable. It always catches up eventually. Once the spotlight fades and the early hype dies down, all that's left standing is the product itself. And if the product can't hold up, no amount of glossy storytelling or celebrity branding can save it. That's exactly what's happening here. Customers aren't asking for anything crazy or entitled. They just want candles that actually work. They want refunds when defective items show up. They just want someone to acknowledge the problem and take responsibility. That's the absolute bare minimum. But instead of action, all they're getting is silence and frustration. And silence never stays quiet for long. It turns into something bigger. Frustrated customers start filing official complaints, requesting chargebacks, and in some cases, taking legal steps. Once that door opens, things stop being about customer service and start becoming very expensive. What makes it worse is that this could have all been handled so easily early on. A simple recall, a public apology, or even a quick refund policy adjustment could have cooled the fire fast. But by ignoring the issue, the brand basically let it grow unchecked. Now, it's not just a matter of customer satisfaction. It's a full-blown credibility crisis. And once trust cracks in the luxury market, rebuilding it isn't just tough, it's nearly impossible. Credibility. Once it's gone, it's almost impossible to rebuild. And right now, that's exactly what this brand is losing fast. As more buyers start sharing their experiences online, the pressure keeps climbing higher and higher. Regulators start noticing patterns, lawyers start looking at numbers, and consumers start paying attention to how a company acts when they think no one's watching. That's when the real truth usually comes out. And here's the thing, this story isn't finished, not even close. It's actually moving into its next and most dangerous phase. Beyond the possibility of federal oversight, there's another layer of risk that people forget about. State-level consumer protection laws. A lot of states have strict rules against selling defective products and denying refunds, and those laws vary depending on where the company operates and where customers live. That means this issue could trigger legal violations in multiple states at once. Suddenly, what started as bad customer service becomes a full-on legal nightmare. And then there's the money side, chargebacks. When angry customers go straight to their banks and dispute the charges, the brand doesn't just lose the sale. They get slapped with fees, penalties, and a warning from payment processors. If enough chargebacks pile up, those processors can pull the plug completely, cutting the brand off from accepting any online payments. For a business that relies on direct-to-consumer sales, that's not just bad, that's game over. And at this point, the legal and financial risks aren't theoretical anymore. They're right at the door. This isn't just bad press anymore. It's real, and it's serious. What's happening here goes way beyond a PR hiccup. This is the kind of mess that can leave long-term financial scars on a brand. And yet, despite all the chaos, new reports claim that Meghan Markle is actually planning to expand her as ever brand into the UK market. Yes, That brand, the one struggling to ship working candles, the one refusing refunds, the same one Netflix allegedly treated like leftover junk, that's the brand now being positioned for a grand UK launch. According to insider reports, Meghan supposedly believes she can grab a solid slice of the UK's luxury jam market, and maybe even expand beyond that. She's apparently confident that once British shoppers get a taste of her products, they'll fall in love with the brand instantly. But honestly, that belief feels completely out of touch with what's happening on the ground. Meghan Markle's popularity in the UK is way lower than in the United States, and even in the US, her approval numbers aren't exactly glowing. The British public has been vocal about how they feel, and most aren't rushing to support her next venture. And that's not even getting into the legal landscape. The UK has strict consumer protection laws, some even tougher than those in the States. If as ever tries to roll out the same kind of questionable quality and refund practices overseas, it could face serious backlash before the first candle or jar of jam even hits the shelf. The UK plays by a whole different set of rules, and they don't mess around. Consumer protection laws there are much stricter than in the US. Refund rights are clearly defined, and enforcement moves fast. If a company tried to pull the same stunt, selling defective products and refusing refunds, the legal fallout would be swift, public, and very expensive. And that's before even talking about competition. The UK market is already packed with high-end lifestyle brands that have loyal fan bases and proven track records. We're talking about serious players, including Highgrove, the line tied to King Charles himself, known for its top-quality goods and genuine heritage. Competing in that space takes more than fame and headlines. It takes trust, consistency, and products that actually do what they're supposed to. So the idea that As Ever could suddenly dominate a market like that, while it's still struggling to make functional candles and respond to customers, just doesn't line up with reality. Expansion doesn't cover up existing issues, it exposes them even more. And that's the real problem here. The Wickless candle drama isn't a one-off mistake, it's just the newest chapter in a long list of troubles. There have been reports of sold-out products that mysteriously led to canceled orders, ongoing quality complaints across multiple items, and of course, the total collapse of the Netflix partnership that was supposed to push the brand to the next level. Instead, every move seems to be digging the hole deeper. The fallout from all this keeps getting louder, and it's starting to hit where it hurts most: reputation and trust. What was supposed to be Meghan Markle's shining business comeback is now being talked about as one of the most confusing celebrity brand meltdowns in recent memory. Every week, new stories surface online, from disappointed buyers, frustrated employees, and even former collaborators hinting that things behind the scenes were chaotic from day one. People who once defended the brand are now second-guessing everything. Social media is flooded with videos of customers showing off their Wickless candles and sharing screenshots of unanswered emails. The tone has shifted. It's no longer curiosity or gossip. It's frustration turning into full-on outrage. And once public opinion flips like that, it's almost impossible to pull it back. Industry insiders are whispering that retailers are hesitant to stock As Ever products at all right now, afraid of getting caught in the storm. Some suppliers have reportedly paused future orders until the brand can prove it's fixed its quality issues. That's a huge red flag for any company trying to survive in the luxury market. At this point, Meghan faces a tough choice: double down and try to rebuild from the ashes, or step back and rethink everything. Because if the next launch flops or another batch of defective products hits customers' doors, this brand might not just struggle, it could collapse completely. At some point, all these mistakes stop looking like bad luck and start looking like a full-blown pattern. And patterns are exactly what regulators, lawyers, and consumers pay attention to. Second chances eventually run out, patience wears thin, and when that happens, consequences hit hard. Because let's be real, charging $64 for a candle that doesn't even light, refusing refunds, and ignoring paying customers isn't luxury branding. It's a massive red flag. This isn't about a bad batch or one factory slip-up anymore. It's about trust, accountability, and whether this brand can survive the storm it created. So now the real question is, can As Ever survive this scandal? Will legal action finally catch up? And most importantly, knowing everything that's come to light, would you still trust this brand with your money? We've watched this situation unravel piece by piece, and it's clear something here doesn't add up. The image of elegance and perfection is starting to crack, and the truth behind the branding is what's really shining through. If you got thoughts on this, drop them in the comments below. Do you think Meghan's brand can bounce back, or is this the beginning of the end? And hey, if this breakdown opened your eyes or made you see things differently, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs to hear the truth. Stay tuned. More shocking deep dives are coming your way.